But if you close your eyes.
Hello and welcome to Mr. Stroud's Psychology and Sociology vlog. Today is for GCSE Sociology. Now, if you are watching this on Sunday the 14th of May 2017, you do know that tomorrow is the big day, the Unit 1 Sociology exam. That includes studying society, education, and families. Now, historically, students do better on this exam. So this is the one where you can get more marks to secure the grade that you want. Okay, so today I'm going to go through a exam paper from 2016. Just do a few of the questions, talk through them, use the mark scheme and the examiner report, which I would definitely recommend you doing. Have a look at that. Okay, and we're just going to talk through some hints and some tips throughout. You've got this, guys. You have got this. We will have meme of the week as well, and we will have psychology fact of the week. Psychology fact of the week this week is: your mind wanders 30% of the time. The term mind wandering refers to when you are doing one task and then fade into thinking about something that is not related to that task. So what does that mean? It means take regular breaks, okay? When you're revising or you're in an exam, okay, and your mind starts to wander about other things, just close your eyes, take a deep breath and think, okay, let's get back on, let's focus. Okay, because if you start to wander half an hour later and you've forgotten to do your exam, okay? So make sure that you are focused, and if you do feel like you're wandering, just take a step back, breathe, and then get back on. Okay, so let's start with the Unit 1. If you go to the other video that I'm going to upload at the same time, that will be a Unit 2 paper. Just exactly the same thing, but we're just going to go through it. Now, guys, remember in Unit 1, Topic 1, which is studying society, you answer all the questions. There is no 12 mark. I repeat, there is no 12 mark in Topic 1. Okay. Topic 2, which is education, you're going to answer all of them, and then when you get to the 12 mark questions, you choose one of the 12 mark questions. Okay, exactly the same for the family topic. Let me just show you. So, Unit 1, as we go down, okay, all of these questions need to be answered. You then get to education, where all of these need to be answered up to this section where you've got 12 marks, 12 mark. You choose one of these. Alright, and the same as we go along to families, where you answer all of these questions and then you choose between 24 and 25. Okay, so let's start with studying society. Okay, now we're going to skip the first two. Remember, with these questions, you read the item it's linked to. So from item A, item A, item B, item B. Okay, and again, one advantage, one disadvantage of the research method, item B. Alright, we're going to skip that. We've done that enough in class. Okay, now, this nice easy question, let's just focus on this. Studying item C, describe how a longitudinal study might be useful for researching the changing attitudes of young people. Okay, now there's a focus, changing attitudes of young people. As I've said many times, always mention this, the prompt, in your question. If you don't, it doesn't seem like you're linking it straight to the question that's being asked. So you need to read all of this, and this is about longitudinal survey, okay, and it's looking at the attitudes as they go through adolescence into adulthood. And then you can see here the first survey was undertaken in 2003, where it tells you what happens. Now remember, a longitudinal study is a study that happens over a long period of time. Any research methods could be part of this. Now it's a survey in this example, okay, but it could be, for example, observations. Now, you would mention that every 2 years there is another survey to see if there's differences. Okay, now let's look at the mark scheme. Okay, and it's talking about significant changes over time, obtaining information. Okay, essentially what it's asking you to do is show us, or the examiner, why this will be useful. Now, I'd say the best one to say is that it can track the changes that happen throughout the adolescence into adulthood. So you can say in age 14, children might have attitudes towards school, etc., blah, blah, blah. And as they get older, their attitudes change or their focus changes, etc. As long as there's an example in there, you're doing your job. So about 2 marks for a description of a longitudinal study, another mark for an example, but then linking it to the change in attitudes is going to get you those 4 marks. Right, let's skip a few and have a look, as I've mentioned a lot, at these questions. 7, 8, 9. 7, 8, 9 link directly to this prompt. Ladies and gentlemen, please use the prompt. In this prompt, it's the extent of sexism in British schools. Identify one primary research method you'd use and explain why you would use this primary research method. Same thing. Think of a primary research method, observations, interviews, questionnaires, okay, and link it to how you would use it to look at sexism in British schools. One ethical issue, confidentiality, right to withdraw, link it back to the prompt. Sampling method, random sampling, stratified sampling, snowball sampling, link it back to the prompt. Okay, give examples that are directly linked to this. That will get you the marks. Now remember, this unit 1, Studying Society, can get you the best marks, and it's exactly the same amount of marks in this section than the other sections. So the more marks you get in the unit 1, much easier for you to get a good grade in this. Okay?
There's a party going on right here, a celebration to last throughout the years.
Okay, now we're going to skip down through some of the education questions. I'm not going to focus on them because they are, with revision, quite easy. So let's go to the 14. Describe one educational policy of the past 20 years that has attempted to assist pupils from disadvantaged backgrounds, and explain how successful this policy has been. Okay, that was the mark scheme. You get this much space, so it's quite a lot of space, like a page of space. Okay, so you should be writing quite a lot. Now, the one that I want you to focus on, if you do get a question like this, is pupil premium and bursaries. In other words, when we talked about it in class, the free school meals section. Okay, so the pupil premium, the bursaries, allow students who are from a lower economic status to be able to do things that they wouldn't be able to without it. For example, they would get money off revision books, money off school trips, okay, money off all the things that someone who is wealthier won't need the help with. Now, to get those main marks, okay, talk about here how the policy may have led to more educational opportunities for pupils. So it's not that the money is going to get them to do better, it's that they're given more opportunity to do better. It's still up to the student to put the effort in. However, they have now given opportunities that would allow them to help it. However, there are some ideas, okay, that there is still a gap between pupil premium students and students who are not pupil premium. There's still a gap in educational achievement. So why could this be? Well, it could be to do with the socialisation. Okay, it might be to do with material deprivation at home. They might have it at school, but does that mean they have their own room, etc. at home? Right? So all of these things will get you those marks. Let's just look at the examiner's report for that question. So, as you can see, It says stronger responses focused on the issue of material deprivation and use this idea to show how the policy of the pupil premium can specifically assist those in disadvantaged society. So you can see the stronger responses are the ones that talked about pupil premium and material deprivation. Okay, so using that will hopefully get you to the top marks in that question. All right, the one you've been waiting for. Now, I've skipped most of the family topic because you seem to be quite good, the classes that I have. Obviously, if you're watching this and you're not from the school I work at, then I don't know how well you are doing at family, but we're going to skip to the 12-mark question, okay? Because the 12-mark question can get you good amount of marks, and you don't need to get 12 out of 12 to get a good mark in the end. Okay, so it is important to try and get as many marks as possible, but not so much to focus on getting 12 out of 12. If you want to get 12 out of 12 and you feel like you can, there's nothing stopping you. Okay, but don't worry if you don't feel like you can get those 12 out of 12s. So, we're going to do this first question here. Discuss how far sociologists would agree that gender roles within families have changed considerably over the past 50 years. Now, this sort of question comes up a lot, and it is using a lot of keywords that you'd use in the 4-mark questions and 5-mark questions, just in an overall section. Okay, now if you use my dead fish, if you don't know what that is, look on one of the older videos, because the older videos do mention it, and there's a little 12-mark question breakdown. I think it's in the Sociology Unit Vlog 1, I think it is. If not, then find it. Okay, so let's quickly look at the mark scheme to see what they would say about this. Agree that gender roles within families have changed considerably in the last 50 years. Right, here it is. Domestic division of labour is changing. Okay, the idea of the house husbands or the new man, the idea that men are now not just sitting there after work demanding dinner, but they're actually getting involved with the housework and with the childcare. We've got the idea that women can be the breadwinner. We also have the joint conjugal roles idea / symmetrical family idea, that actually the power relationships in families have definitely equaled, I wouldn't say, and we're going to come on to that in a minute. We're not there yet, okay, but past 50 years, there is been a significant change, right? So 4 to 6 marks, just mentioned a few of those. To get to the next section, and the section after that, we really want this explicit how far section. So you need to be on both sides. So on one side, you can say, yes, the gender roles have definitely changed. However, there are limits of changes and the way that roles have changed. Okay, so there is still gender inequality. There are some segregated roles still. Okay, there might still be authority relationships that are still unequal. Okay, now this is when you bring in, if you want the topper marks, the higher marks, the feminist view. The feminist view would still say there's a patriarchal family type, the nuclear family type, and that is still one of the most popular family types. So we're not there yet. Okay, you could bring feminism in there. That will show the examiner that you know what your stuff is. You know your stuff. Okay, and as you say here in the examination report, okay, it says limitations to the extent of equality were well described by many, including Oakley and feminist critics. So you can say what feminists would believe. Okay, and it also says some described equality legislation leading to more independence for women. So you can bring in the Equal Pay Act. You can bring in anything you want really about the equality between men and women. Now, essentially, this question can be an easy one, and it could be a high-earning one if you get one like this. Okay, so if you do get one like this, give it a go.
But if you close your eyes, but if you close your eyes,
and they called it puppy love.